Okay, so started recording. Hello everyone. Thank you all for joining. We are very excited to basically present this end of year meetup, and we are very happy about what we have done for this year so far. In terms of number of meetups, we did close to 9 meetups, plus we did one mini conference and then one major conference. So this has been like a pretty much happening year for .vvm. And in terms of number of community members, we are in like a 3 digit, and hopefully we'll be able to cross 4 digit in few months or so. I would like to thank great to our mentor and basically our guide and our CEO Riganti Thomas for his constant support, and our developer requests Daniel, Vincent, and our campus ambassador Ola Subomi. Uh, Without further ado, I would like to hand over mic to Thomas for a short demo and then like a small recap for what we did with .weave this year.
Okay, so I will take the screen. This is the right screen. Okay, so we have been working on many .vvm features in this year, and we prepare a lot of new things for the next year. And at the beginning of the year, we have released .vvm 3.0, which brought us many improvements, especially in the core of the .vvm framework, because we have rewritten the entire JavaScript part of .vvm. Before 3.0, it was one very long file with a lot of global functions, and we rewrote this code base, which is very important, into a much nicer implementation, which uses the newest JavaScript features like the JS modules and other nice syntax constructs. We are also using the newest version of TypeScript, so we take advantage of very nice features which TypeScript language brings to us. So from the perspective of developer of the framework, this was improved a lot. And from the customer's perspective, .vvm 3.0 adds a lot of new features like translations of functions in data bindings, like link functions, and plenty of other things. And for .vvm 4.0, which is the next release of .vvm, it should be ready like in this month or at the beginning of the next year. We have been working on making it easier to build your own controls. So we have introduced support for composite controls, where you can just write a simple C# class with one function, and it will just return from which controls your own component is built or made of. So it's very easy to create controls that you just compose from other controls, and you can pass parameters, pass data bindings inside. And also, we have created a unified experience for like embedding controls from different frameworks into .vvm pages. Because one great thing .vvm can do for you is to make a nice transition between the server and the client in terms of sending data. If you look in the view model, I have some list here, and I can populate this list on the server in your C# code, which is great because you can contact the database, you can load any data you want, and you just place it in the view model somewhere here. And .vvm magically makes it appear in the browser, and this data property will be in the browser as a normal JavaScript object. So it's very easy with .vvm to just get data on the server and send them to the client. It works. The framework makes so it just works. Yeah, so you don't need to build some kind of API and do anything special about it. You have the communication channel already. And there is a lot of third-party components that are built with React or Vue.js or Svelte or any other frameworks. And for .vvm 4.0, we have created a universal interface which allows you to host any control in your .vvm page, and the control can communicate with the view model. Right now, we have the concrete implementation for React, but the interface we have in .vvm is universal, so it's possible to make the wrapper for other frameworks like Vue.js or anything else, basically. Even if you write your own control with using jQuery or something like that, still you can use this interface to communicate with the control. So I have a very simple demo which tries to show this feature, and basically my colleague found a nice charting controls for React. It's called recharts. So this is the name of the package, and it's just a JavaScript library which provides some React components for drawing charts. And I want to host this React component in my .vvm page. So basically, I can use js.recharts, and I can pass some data from the view model to this React component. So I have the data collection in the view model, and I just pass it using the value binding into this control. And of course, the user can interact with the control. So of course, you will also need to catch some events from this control and make them processed in .vvm. So for example, if the user moves the mouse on some element inside the chart, I want to call this static command, which will get some, this will be just the ID of the thing the user is pointing on with the mouse. And I will just set this n parameter to my view model property current thing. This property is just a type of string. So basically, I get a string from the control, and I want to do something with the string. So I'm assigning it to the view model property. But so you can pass data to the control, and also you can respond to events which happen in the component. So when the component decides to do something, you can bind a command or static command to this event. Yeah. So this is how the rechart control is used. But of course, .vvm doesn't know anything about recharts. So we have to tell .vvm how to obtain this control. And it's done by JavaScript module. So I have my React app module here, and you can see it's in TypeScript. And because I'm using the React syntax, it's the extension of the file is tsx. Yeah, X means that you can find these React elements in the file. Yeah. And if you have the compiler set up correctly, then it will work. So what we have here, I'm importing React. I'm importing React DOM, which is the hosting model for React components in the page. And I have imported these things from the recharts library. And this is our special npm package, .vvm.js component React. And this is a wrapper over our generic interface for React. So if you have React control, you need this package because this is the integration point between the React component and .vvm page. And I'm using this register React control function, which will do the plugging for me. So I will just pass the React component to this function, and it will just plug it inside the .vvm interface we are using for integrating with other components. Yeah. So how it's used, here I have the recharts component. Basically, it's just a function. It's called constructor function. And basically, it just returns a React component. Yeah, so you can see that it's just return and this line chart. And this function gets the props, which is the React concept. It's just an object with some properties. So it's some key value map. And you can see I'm using the data here. So this is the data for the chart. And I have passed the value for the data property here. So basically, this property will get the data collection from the view model. And Then I have passed onMouse, which is a function, and the function accepts one parameter of string. So when I want to call it, I need to just pass the string in the function. Yeah, so this is how it's used. And so this function gets the properties which I set in the markup, like these two, and its responsibility is to return the React component, which is done like this. And oh, sorry, my mouse just stopped working. I don't know why. Okay, it works again. And in order to tell DotVVM, okay, if somebody types JS recharts, then it's handled by this control. I need to export the module content. So this is normal JS module syntax. I'm exporting default function, which gets the view module context, and it needs to return an object for the page. And the object can have the controls property, and it's a map where I have the recharts name, and the implementation is this register React control. This is our integration bridge imported from here. And this gets the constructor function for the component. And this gets just some default value. So I need to pass context to this register React control, and also some default values for the properties. So if nobody sets the onMouse, I will pass just an empty function there, because otherwise, if I just call it from the component, it would just crash. So if this is not set, I will just use an empty function which does nothing. Yeah. So from this $controls, I'm returning the list of JavaScript components I want to be able to use in the page using this JS colon and name of the control. So this is how it's implemented. And if I run this sample, if I run this sample, you can see that the data collection is part of the view model, and the chart was just created. So this chart is a React component I have just imported using this file. And if I select something, you can see this currently selected item. It's changing because I'm moving my mouse and I'm highlighting other things in the chart. And of course, if I change the view model in any way, like I regenerate the data collection, you can see that the chart responds to that. The animation is a feature of the chart, so the transition is animated, but like DotVVM just changed the data inside the data collection. That's it. Yeah. So this is just how React components could be integrated in DotVVM. So you need to have the JS module, which exports a control in this $control section. And then you can just use this control from the markup. You can pass values using value binding, and you can handle events using, for example, static command. You can also use normal command that this control doesn't care. It just calls the function, and DotVVM will inject some code which will process this binding into this function. So that's basically it. And in order to be able to use this file with the TSX extension, you need to have this tsconfig file, which configures TypeScript that we are targeting ECMAScript 6, because the file needs to export the JavaScript module. And also, we are using the JSX syntax for React. So the compiler will know how to deal with these elements. So if you look in the generated file, you can see we have just this code, and there are no elements there. Instead, it generates something. Sorry, I need to be at the end of the file. Yeah, so this is Richard component, and you can see that it translates the elements to this React exports create element. the beginning of the code base was weird because I'm also embedding React together with this in one big module. So I'm downloading just one file which has React embedded together with my code. It's just bundled together using this rollup, which is a Node.js tool for bundling various resources. So I'm just processing this TSX file to this JavaScript file. So this is one of the features we will introduce in .vvm 4.0. I'm not sure if this is interesting for everyone because I know that .vvm is used by many customers who prefer not to write JavaScript. But if you want to use some third-party components that are written for React, you can use them quite easily in .vvm. So if you, for example, if you are looking for some nice charting controls, then this really expands your like set of choices from which you can choose, because there is plenty of charting controls already implemented for React. So you can just pass data to these controls from .vvm. So I hope that yes, at least in some scenarios, this would be easy to use, and it can help you in your .vvm project. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask now, because I will have to leave in like 5 minutes. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question.
Thank you, Thomas, for giving us this great session about. We will be able to see next version or like after that.
Sorry?
When will we be able to see this feature in .vvm?
This will be in .vvm 4.0, which is, we plan it to release this version during December or January. So it will be out quite soon. And in my project, I'm targeting like pre-release version .vvm 4.0 preview 03 final, which already contains this feature. I'm just trying to write the URL and post it to the chat. So if you are interested in this sample, you can search for .vvm React integration, or you can use the link I'm posting in the chat right now. So this is the sample I have been showing here. So you can see how it's configured, especially the package.json file, which lists the npm packages you will need, and also the rollup config, because this is the configuration for bundling this TypeScript file together with React. Okay. So thank you. I have to leave the meeting now, but thank you for using .vvm. Thank you for your interest. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us on our Gitter chat or Twitter or any other channel you will find. So we will be happy to talk. So thank you, and happy Christmas and happy New Year for everyone.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us. We will hopefully see you in next meetup. Till then,
Of course.
thank you so much. Happy New Year and happy Christmas too as well.
Okay, see you.
All right. Bye. So our next speaker is our very own Daniel. So Daniel is our very active developer, and Daniel has been basically operating and taking initiatives from North America. Daniel?
Yes, hello everyone. It's a whole pleasure to greet you in this last meetup of the year. You can see me now, right? No.
Nope.
Let me a moment. Okay. Hello. In this section, we will talk about the .vvm in action section, particularly to recognize Christmas objects in images from a web application, and now we can review how to do that. Okay, let me share my screen to show you this part. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, as I mentioned previously, now we can review this special segment of DotVVM in action to review a web application to recognize Christmas objects in images in this DotVVM end of the year meetup. So the idea in this web application is recognize, for example, bottles, faces, a guitar, for example, as well, or a hat for Christmas. And this is a web application. The idea is, for example, to take a picture from the web camera or search some image and then recognize it. So this is the general idea. Upload one file and recognize the objects. So I have this from this part of this demo in .vvm. Now I need to turn on my web camera here, and now you can see this section. The idea is have this web camera and search an image. For example, let me do one demo. For example, I upload this file, and now I can show you this image file for Christmas holidays and analyze this image. What is the idea? To recognize, for example, faces, to say, okay, in this section there is a face here, and hats as well, and also a guitar, for example, in this case. This is with files, with also take a picture, for example, here. And in this case, I guess the only thing that we can recognize here is the face, and any more, no more. Yeah, here we can see our face, the border well. I have other elements, for example, here for Christmas holidays, for example, a barrel to recognize this part. Let me take a picture. Okay, analyze image. Okay, borrow here and face. That's right. In this section, you can see the object recognized, this borrow and the face. So now we can talk about about this solution. Let me go here. How is that this solution, this web application? The first part, we have a machine learning model to recognize the objects, in this case from custom vision service on Microsoft Azure. And in our site, we have a solution in ASP.NET. The first point is a class library to code this machine learning model to send the image and get the objects recognized. Also, we have a web application in .vvm too. Okay, search this file, take a picture, and interact with the users. There are many things that we can consider in this web application, but one particular thing is how to work with these files. That is when we open or search files in our directory to upload this image, for example. And this is that we are talking, we are going to talking about in this section about .vvm controls. There are many functionalities that we can use in .vvm forms to have our applications, but one particular control is about file upload. File upload allows you to render a file upload, to allows users to upload one or more files. We can specify the type of the file and some attributes to work with file upload. In this section, in the view part, we can specify as a tag with the .vvm control type file upload. And in this part, the thing we need to specify is the collection files in this part to save the files. And the other thing, specify some attributes. For example, if we want to upload one or multiple files, we can define this in the view. And in the view model, the only thing we need to do is have the upload files collection in this part to have like a array. For example, in the position 0, we will have the file the file 1. In the position 1, we will have the file 2, and it's the same idea for multiple files in this section. So in our solution on Visual Studio, in the default view model, in this section we have the upload files collection. Files, in this case, to remember to save the files upload from the user. In this part, we can initialize it in the constructor of the class, in this case default view model, as a upload files collection. And in the other part, we can use this file. As I mentioned previously, this is an array, like an array, to save, in this case, the position 1. In this particular case, the idea is to submit only one image and put it here. And then we can use, in other cases, a storage, for example, to say, okay, I want to save this file, upload from the form, and save in a particular path. In this demo, the files are saving in the www root folder here in camera photos, in this part. In the future, remember, this is only a demo. In the future, we can use, for example, Azure Storage or other services to save our files in the cloud. But the most important thing here is this part, the collection files that have the blob of the file. This is in the view model, and in the view, the only thing we need to do is specify the .vvm control. Here, default .html, we can see here this control file upload, and specify the data source and some attributes. In this particular case, of the uploaded files will be saved in files, these files. Okay, and now we can specify other attributes. For example, allows multiple files. No, in this case, we only want one file. We also show a success message text when the file is uploaded. For example, show in the web application, hey, image upload successfully. Also, for example, number of file indicator text. For example, if we upload several files, we can show in the web application the number of files. Upload button text. This is the button to open the search files. And also we can specify the type of the files. In this case, GPG. Well, okay, this type of files. And finally, the action to do something when the file is upload completed. In this case, we can call to this method in the view model, save image, this one, to save the file, in this case in the www root folder. And this is the idea about how we can work with the .vvm files upload control. Okay, I go back here. There are other things that we can consider on this demo. For example, the JS directive to call JavaScript functions from .vvm. Let me show you an example. For example, here in the application, we have here this section to say, okay, take a picture and this is the function on JavaScript, and from .vvm we can call that with static commands from a button control from a JavaScript class here. For example, this is take a snapshot to take a picture from the JavaScript library, and we can call these functions from JavaScript. So this is the other things that we can consider, and you can review the entry process. It's very simple as well. In this article, it has it has been very popular in the C# Corner community, and you can search it as calling JavaScript functions from .vvm with JS directive. So this is other functionality in this demo, and if you want to interact with this web application to recognize Christmas objects, in this particular case barrels, guitars, hats and faces, you can go to bit.ly/Christmas with .vvm, that is this web application. And to end, let me show you one last example. Like a Christmas objects, I have here this hat. Let me see if the machine learning model can recognize it. Okay, and analyze image if we can recognize the hat. Okay, we can see here the hat with 99% of probabilities that in this part there is a hat. Okay, this is the demo from this part to recognize Christmas objects in this .vvm web application. You can go if you want to try it as well. And talking about Christmas, the .vvm advent calendar is also available in .vvm advent calendar 2021. Here you can find a collection of articles about many features about .vvm, from the most basic for the most advanced. So you can find this .vvm advent calendar in the, for example, in the medium of .vvm. So this is from my side. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you like this little demo to to have in a holiday uh, environment, and I hope you uh, um, have a nice holidays, Christmas, New Year, and all of that. I really hope you like it.
Thank you, Daniel, for this Christmassy theme demo. It was very good. I like it.
Thank you.
Maybe you can share the source code in the WhatsApp group so that people can use if they want.
Sorry, I can hear it at the last part.
Okay, sorry. I said like maybe you can share the source code in the WhatsApp group so that other people can use if they want to as well.
Okay. In this part, in this case, the source code will be available in some part of 2022, but that this part is now available.
Hmm. So if anyone have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask now. Now is that time to ask because we are pretty much done with our today's meetup. Also, me, you can unmute and you can turn on your camera. I guess we don't have any more questions. In that case, I think we can wrap up this meeting. Thank you all for joining. This has been like an amazing year for .vvm in terms of community, in terms of meetup, and in terms of developer advocates. We were very excited about our next year, and we'll be pumping our more resources into community, more meetups, and more developer advocates hopefully soon. Till then, have a happy new year and take care. See you next year. Till then, bye bye.
Happy holidays and see you next year.